the CD. CD broke. B, they're filming now for Broadway World. Did not do my hair. It looks crazy. So just put Vaseline in the lens ASAP. C, there's a heater literally directly here, so it's gonna be amazing sweat pits. D, no guests for the next 2 weeks because it's whatever that's called, right? Jewish, and then New Year's. Then in January, I think I have Aaron Lazar, who's Count Trauma Agnes, and I have somebody else booked, but I don't know who. What else do I want to say? Anything-ish? Oh yeah, that's not. This actually may be the one. This I think is the actual 10-year anniversary Chatterbox today. I think it's the actual 10 years. It's all good. I'm gonna do an actual 10-year anniversary show where I'm gonna have live guests with like live recreations and videos and stuff like that. That's gonna be later. But this I think this is the day because I did 2 in December. I think the first one was Paul Cascio or Faye, Paige Price. The next week was Kristen Shannon with Norm Lewis, and then it was Christmas. So this is the 10-year anniversary, and I don't look a day over. Fade out. Speaking of not looking a day over, Brent Barrett's CD, the stunningness photo cover, I'm obsessed with. We can discuss that in detail. Please welcome to the stage, currently starring as Billy Flynn, looking stunning on a CD cover and in person. Not cool. Look at that hairline. Brent Barrett.
Seth's Serious Radio show,
and I was
a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about that, and he was talking about all the work I've had done.
You can't even see the lace.
I know. And I said, well, I was out in Vegas for 3 years, but I wanted to bring this picture of my mother, who is 92, just to prove that the hairline is real.
Wait.
She's 92, and her brother is 104, and then the other brother is like 93.
Well, their hairline's clank, but her hairline is amazing, and it's the same hairstyle. So what's that about?
It's been under a stocking cap.
I love that you actually brought proof. Okay, I believe you now. Excellent. Okay, we'll discuss in detail. Okay, look how great he looks. He actually told me what were you gonna wear before the last minute you changed your outfit.
What I had on were brown jeans and a maroon sweater.
Wouldn't that have been devastating? Sister. Such a lot. Okay, Brenny, I don't know this. Where did you grow up? Oh, you told me Midwest, but where?
Kansas.
In Kansas? That's considered the Midwest, Kansas?
It's about as mid as you can get. It's right in the center of the country. Do you know your geography? I know you're from this, some people from the East and the West Coast have no idea what's in the middle of the country.
And I was a piano major here. But I went to Oberlin, which is in the Midwest, so back at you. But talk to me for a second. Any tornadoes? I used to be obsessed with weathers.
Yeah, I didn't actually live through one, but I saw one in the distance.
You weren't a tornado chaser, were you?
No.
I've always wanted to do that.
I was in the army.
Except for the death part. But I like driving around.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. Well, of course you grew up with with Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz.
Did you have a storm cellar?
Well, everyone has a basement in Kansas, and if you don't, you have a storm cellar.
Was it stocked with goods?
Well, yeah, it is, but it was stocked with goods that my mother actually canned from the backyard. Green beans and pickled beets and all this stuff that they grew every summer, and she would can them come fall, come harvest time.
Did you have an actual farm?
No, we lived in town, but we had this huge property with this big backyard. We had cherry trees, we had apple trees. It was very
idyllic.
It really was, and I couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. No, it was a great place to grow up.
Plastic smile. Okay, stop lying for a minute. First of all, what did your parents do?
My dad was a Chevy dealer.
Wow. Yeah. So 60s, and what did your mom do?
She was a housewife.
Really?
And as soon as he retired, she went to work. Just because she couldn't stand being in this,
with him.
Yeah, 24 hours a day. Yeah.
And what did you go to work as? A Honda dealer.
It's a little town. No, there was only one car dealership in town, and it was Barrett Brothers Chevrolet.
Oh, that was yours.
That was it.
Barrett? Yeah. Oh, I love it. So wait, what did you go to work as?
What did she do?
Yeah.
She went to work, well, she's a great cook and a wonderful baker, and there's a little cafe in town called the QN, which is where I actually worked, doing, flipping eggs and pancakes in the morning for a year before I ended up going to Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, yeah.
So she became a chef?
So she went down and like 3 days a week she was baking pies.
And then how did you start singing? Did she sing?
No. There was I had a cousin who was 15 years older. I mean, she's 92. I really should have been in the next generation because all of my cousins are like 15, 20 years older than I am.
Were you the baby of the family?
Yeah. I was a surprise. That's what they told the Lifetime cookware man when he came to the house. You laugh at it's the truth. And that was the first time. Well, we were all looking at the cookware. Ooh, yeah, you just put the You know, out there, you know, they didn't have Kmart's. They didn't have anything. You know, they didn't have big shopping centers. There was no mall. And people would actually come door to door selling their wares in the 60s.
Like, and then how did that come up? He said, "Oh, what a young child," and she's like, "Well, we didn't plan him."
Exactly. Well, yeah. She said, "Well, he was a surprise." And I went, "What's that mean?"
Hopefully, it was a pleasant surprise. Okay, so go on. So your cousin's 15 years older, and she was belting.
And she was actually a dance. She was a piano player and a dancer, and she had gone to college to major in piano and. She was, do you know an opera singer named Sam Raimi?
Oh, yeah.
Big bass baritone.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Colby, Kansas, which is 55 miles west of my hometown.
Which is like next door.
Next door. And they were married. She was his college pianist. Yeah.
How romantic, the accompanist marrying the singer.
Yeah. And
my fantasy.
But before they were married, she would come home during the summers and she would play the piano and make me stand there and sing songs, and that's really where I started singing.
And what kind of songs were you singing? Carry Me When?
No, like when the red robin comes ba 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 along.
Pop song.
Along, yeah.
Or devil music, according to Kansas. And then how did you decide Broadway?
Well, that was really I'd gone to. I was going to be an artist. I was a painter, and that's what I was doing in high school until I did my first musical, which was when I started studying voice in high school, and then I started traveling. Was 110 in the Shade. I was in the chorus, and at the local university.
Oh, it was a community theater.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Okay, keep going.
Basically. So when I did the. I was a junior in high school when I started traveling to Hayes, which is 55 miles west, to study voice with a teacher at the college there, and he was directing the musical that summer. So that's when he asked me to come up and be in the chorus. I did that, and that was when I realized, oh, this is what I want to do.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Even being in the chorus.
Yeah.
Was that the last time you were in the chorus?
What was I? I was. 14, 15.
Did you get any parts in high school?
Well, then the next year at my high school, we did Calamity Jane, and I played Wild Bill Hickok.
It's an obscure show to do.
Isn't it, though? It was between Calamity Jane and...
Oklahoma.
I know, and Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh!
And they picked Calamity Jane.
And then you decided to become a theater major?
Actually, I was a voice major.
At Carnegie Mellon?
In Hayes. No, in Hayes. When I left... I left when I was my senior year of high school. I went to Hayes and finished my high school in the morning and started college in the afternoon, and I was a voice major. And then I was there for another full year before I transferred to Carnegie Mellon.
As a musical theater major?
Yeah.
And how did you get into that? You have to do like an audition, like singing, dancing, acting?
And at that time, I had no idea. I just looked, there's a book in colleges, in the libraries that list all the colleges and all the degrees they offer. And it said Carnegie Mellon offered a BFA in musical theater, so I applied and went up and auditioned.
What did you sing?
What did I sing? It was a Kurt Weill.
Lonely House? Lonely Room?
No, from Down in the Valley. Where's the one who will mourn me when I'm gone? When the flower is in bloom, who will cry? I sang that, and I think I sang something from... I forget. I remember that, but I don't remember what else I sang.
And then you were a transfer student there?
And then I transferred,
Anybody else in your class that we know?
Well, when we did Westside Story in my junior year, I was Tony, and Holly Hunter was anybody's.
Oh, this is Maria. Oh, anybody's how cute! Could she dance, or she acted it? She acted the hell out of it.
Oh, she was very fierce.
Did she have her signature page boy?
Actually, it was very short hair, but it was, it was a southern,
Yeah, that's always her signature. So no other musical theater?
What?
Did she sing?
No, she was in the acting department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you get your first audition for West Side Story, the big one?
Well, I was doing Circulated Opera in Pittsburgh the summer before they started rehearsals, and Barry Moss came out. And
Casting director.
Barry and Julie Hughes, they had the Hughes Moss casting at that point. He came out to audition because they were looking for a riff, and 2 of us went to New York for the auditions, and we had a very special afternoon with Jerome Robbins.
So did you know he was going to be there?
No. I just thought I was coming up for an audition.
To sing a song?
To sing a song and dance a little bit, and it turned into an all-afternoon affair.
And what did you have to dance?
All the stuff from the show.
And how much training did you have?
I've had 3 years of dance training before I
You
went to that audition.
You didn't run out of the room crying?
No, but by the end of the day, my brain was, I couldn't put a sentence together. Lenore Nevitz was there auditioning for Anita, and we went over to Joe Allen's afterwards, and I couldn't talk. I was just like, I tried, my brain had just basically shut down.
Saturated.
Yeah.
Did your Rollins give you any notes? Like during the audition? Stick that gut in.
Well,
Point that foot.
didn't have much gut at that point.
Oh, true that. Stick that gut out.
Yeah, I guess. It's all kind of a blur, really.
Because it was so
that
shocking.
afternoon. Yeah. Because you think you're coming to an audition with a group of people, and there are only 3 people in the room.
Why were there only 3 people? Like,
I don't know. Well, I guess they'd been going through rounds and rounds of auditions, and they hadn't found their riff that they wanted, and so I guess they were looking everywhere.
So you were auditioning for riff. What did you have to sing? What did you sing?
I mean, but I didn't dance well enough to do a riff, and I knew that. But it was like, I'll do Westside Story.
Did you get a call back?
So I got a call back, and they offered me the role of Diesel.
So you went to the callback again with Jerome Robbins.
Well, this was a big callback with lots of people.
On a Broadway stage?
Yeah.
I love those kind of callbacks.
Yeah.
Where was it, the Minskoff?
I don't know. It was not at the Minskoff. It was. It might have been at the Fontaine Theater.
Right down the block.
Yeah, yeah.
And so suddenly you were dancing with all these New York dancers. You weren't intimidated?
When you go in, you go in and you do what you do.
I guess. You're not a nervous person.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was intimidated, but being from the Midwest, you don't show your emotions, and so you just
shut down and steely. Okay, so you had this callback, and then Barry Moss called you in your dorm room. Hey.
No, actually, I never lived in a dorm room.
You always lived off campus? Oh, because you
Yeah.
began junior year.
Yeah.
Okay, so he called you, and what happened? It was like, hey, it's Barry Moss.
Hi, it's Barry Moss, and yeah.
Weren't you like, oh, what are you calling about?
Oh, no, I know exactly. And it's like, well, he's either coming to tell me I've got a job, or thanks for coming to New York.
And
he said, we'd like to offer you the role of Diesel.
And you start crying?
No. No. I was very excited.
You don't sound it.
What?
I was very excited. Very excited.
Well, no. You're on the phone. You go, okay, that's great. I put the phone down and I screamed.
Okay, good. Finally,
Yeah,
with
it
vibrato.
was very exciting.
Okay, so hold on. So
I know, and I actually do need to take your class. Where the straight time.
Yes.
Before you had the vibrato.
Yeah, do not vibrato from the first note.
No, but I'm old, so it is.
So you're set in your ways? I'll get back to you. Okay, so hold on.
I
So
was not the singing style when I came along.
Karen Morrow. Okay, so
Just a girl.
fine. Richard Cotton. No, he is vibrato all the time. Okay, so you got your first Broadway show while still in college. I guess that's fair. And then you moved to New York. Where did you move in? The Lucille Ball, that apartment for women. Like, where did you move to?
No, actually,
Stage door.
When I first got here, I was staying at a friend's apartment that it was a music major at Carnegie over on the East 77th Street during rehearsals. I was there during the rehearsal process.
And what were
sleeping on the
rehearsals?
couch. They were at the Minskoff building when they still had the rehearsal
Studios in the old days. And you weren't like, oh my god, I'm in college, I don't really dance, what am I doing here? You were just like, you walked into rehearsal and you were like, I belong here.
Yeah.
I like your attitude. Mm-hmm. And then, did you understudy Tony?
Not at first.
So you were just Diesel?
I was just Diesel. I was just one of the...
And I even understudied for Riff?
No. I didn't dance well enough.
How did you get to understudy Tony?
Well, I got a call from Ruth Mitchell one day, who was Jerry's side
Kind of
assistant.
Hal Prince's assistant.
Yeah, Hal Prince's assistant, because she was producing the show. And said, we'd like you to come in and audition for the tour of Sweeney Todd that was going on.
For Anthony?
Uh-huh. And I said, okay. So I went in and sang Joanna, and they said, would you sing Maria for us? I said, okay.
Random.
Yeah, exactly. So I sang, I did that, and then and Michael Lonergan, who was the company manager at the time, said, well, where are you going to be? Why don't you go across the street to, what was it, Barrymore's at the time, and I'll give you a call. It was before cell phones.
I was paging Brent Barrett.
Basically, that's what it was. They called and said, we'd like to offer you the second Tony cover.
You're like,
And I
Anthony?
said, okay. No, you know,
You knew
what's
that Westside Story suddenly.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, what happened to, what happened to Anthony? But anyway, they wanted to offer me that, and then I found out that they had let the first Tony cover go. And then when I had my second conversation, I said, well, I want to be the first cover.
I love the confidence at the age of 21.
Well, you know, when you're a kid, you don't know any better.
And what did they say? You're fired.
And they said, all right, well, we have to get it approved by Jerry. Then that was my second private audition with Jerry Robbins, having to go in and do all the Tony material on a stage with him in an audience, in the audience.
Don't you like auditioning on a stage instead of a rehearsal room because you're actually performing it?
And you don't have to see them.
Right,
to look at.
They're glaring.
Yeah.
So who was Tony at the time? John Sloman?
No, it was Ken Marshall.
Okay.
Ken Marshall, he was the one who started. No, John took over for me when I left.
Oh.
Like the last 2 months of the run.
Okay, so
not the last 2 months, the last 2 weeks.
He came from a day in Hollywood. Okay, so what was it like when you actually you met Leonard Bernstein? Did you meet him at a party? Did he come to rehearsal?
Well, he was at rehearsals, and then he conducted our opening night in Washington, while we were on tour before we came into New York. I know, that's pretty exciting. And then when I came in, and then we were on Broadway, and when Jerome Robbins approved me to take over the role of Tony for the moment of time, and then they told I was the first understudy. Oh, but then Ken Marshall left to do Marco Polo, which is this TV miniseries, and I ended up playing the role for the last 3 months of the run, except for the last 2 weeks when John Sloman came in.
What a coup for you! So you went
know.
from not understanding anybody to second understudy for an hour, then first understudy, then the actual role.
And the actual role, but not really, because I was on as the understudy the entire time, which is something you cannot do anymore.
Oh, you mean you took over the part, but they didn't put your...
Yeah. So then they came to me when I got this other job. I was going down to Baltimore to do a new show, and they said, listen, we'd like to offer you the role. I said, well, maybe you should have offered me the role earlier.
So much sass. Back as applause? Sassafras. Too little, too late.
But thank you, I appreciate it. But I'm going and doing this new show.
And then they put up notice.
Yeah.
So they would have offered you the role for the last 2 weeks.
Right, exactly.
Ha ha. Now what was Debbie Allen like? Does it rhyme with witch?
What was that?
What was Debbie Allen like? Does it rhyme with witch?
No, she was great. She
Really?
was, she was.
I never met her. I've always been scared of her. Too much fiery Latin.
Well, you know, she's got attitude.
She's got a lot of sassafras.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
And Marlene Danielle was in that show.
Yes, she was.
And then that was
went from that right into Cats and
never left.
That's yeah.
She literally 1982 until when did it close? 2002. 2000. Can you imagine? So how long ago was that story? Was Marlene and Danielle had a job for the next? It's crazy. Okay, so back to Westside Story for a moment. We need to share the story because I heard half of it before. There was a classic story that happened in Westside Story where a certain famous actor, who shall remain nameless, talked to me privately off mic. It was 1980. Was doling out the drugs du jour to the cast. It was 1980, and it was like everybody was doing it. So one night, Brent, go. The story must be told.
Well, you know, this instrument boy from Kansas. This is my first Broadway show, and everybody's doing it. So, you know, I took a little Quaalude. Actually, I just took a quarter of one.
You took a quarter of one?
I just took a quarter of one.
Let's go.
It's a Saturday night. We have a Sunday matinee the next day. And walking up 9th Avenue with Reed Jones, and we stop in a little Irish bar that used to have the food right out front in the hot, whatever, the little portable thing, yeah. We got plates of food, went to the table, and we sat down, and we were talking, and all of a sudden I just kind of moved my plate to the side, and I just kind of laid my head down on the thing, and I don't remember getting home from that point on.
But he does remember.
But I do get up the next day, I look at the clock, and I'm like, oh shit, it's 2:15, and I've got to be at the theater at 2:30.
He literally was eating Irish food. 2:15 the next day.
2:15 the next afternoon, and I jump out of bed, throw my clothes on, run down to the theater, and get there just in time for a half hour, and half the cast is out. Yeah.
It was like
called
a
Black Sunday.
That became the nickname. Can you imagine? But I heard that people actually went on and were just like, when you're
somebody came in at half hour, and it's like the elevator. They came, the elevator doors opened up in the men's golf, and they came to sign in, and they go, "Where's the sign-in sheet?"
In front of you?
It's like an intermission.
Oh my God.
Oh, you are.
Michael, the show's.
Wait a minute, it was literally right after the Rumble. And they're like, I'm here. Oh shit.
Yeah, we were scrambling that day.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Oh yeah, okay. What do you fill in here?
Did heads roll?
Well, yes, eventually heads did roll.
Oh,
That's
God.
eventually why I took over the Tony.
Santa cackle. Those were the days of drug addiction. Okay, so right after that was the next show. What was the next show?
The next Broadway show was Dance a Little Closer.
Did anybody see it?
Yeah.
The nickname was Close a Little Faster. And what was the other nickname you said?
Musical.
Because
Oh.
Moose
Year
Murders
before. Mhm.
Oh.
had just clunkety clanked. Remember Moose Murders? There was another clinkety clanker. So this was part 2 to Moose Murders. It lasted a night. Okay, so describe the pedigree of the show.
The book and the lyrics were by Alan J. Lerner. The score was by Charles
I
Strauss.
mean, how amazing is that?
And Alan was directing.
That's not amazing.
It's based on Robert Sherwood's Idiot's Delight. The play was set in pre-World War II. They updated it to pre-World War III, on the verge of nuclear annihilation, and that's where we were. And there was a pilot in the original play that they turned into 2 gay airline stewards.
Oh.
And I was one of the airline stewards.
And
This was 1983.
very ahead of its time.
young. Yeah.
And what do they want to do with
They
the
wanted to do well in the second act. Because the world was on the verge of destruction, they wanted to get married.
Can you believe that? How timely that is? I mean, how weirdly today it is.
So there was a real conservative right-wing minister in the resort in
Who
the
played him?
Alps.
Len?
No, Hobson. Hobb.
Lou J. Hobbs?
No. He has eyebrows like this. You know.
Peter Gallagher?
No. It's Hobb. What is
Brooks.
Hobson? I can't remember his first name.
And he played him. And who did Len play? Your gay lover? That's a crazy match.
No.
Okay.
No, could you imagine? Like, are you playing? Yeah, no. He was the cabaret singer. Alison Reed was one of his backup girls.
Wow.
And George Rose was playing kind of a Henry Kissinger-like character, and Alan's wife, of the time, Liz Robertson, was playing was the female lead.
So then, what does the cast act like during rehearsals? Did you all start looking at each other being like, this show is awful?
No, we were all excited up until a couple weeks before we opened, when we realized, oh, this is a real stinker.
But Brent told me that during the workshops, the audiences were loving it. That's what I never understand. There's certain shows that work amazingly in workshops, like Seussical. Yeah, the Seussical will be like, this is the best show in the world. And when it gets to Broadway, it clanks. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, what was so good about the workshop that didn't work on Broadway?
I really can't tell you.
It was the same
I don't
score,
know.
right?
It was the same score. Well, there were some numbers that weren't very good, and there were some numbers that were really wonderful.
And who choreographed it?
Billy Wilson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. So you do... Now, is this the case when opening nights, the critics came on opening night, or is this they came the couple days before?
It was a couple days before, because the reviews came out at the party at Sardi's.
Oh.
Did you see the reviews?
We saw one of them.
At Sardi's?
Yeah.
What did it say?
I don't remember. I only remember my bad reviews, not
Oh, so it was
show bad
specific about
reviews.
you.
No.
Okay, good.
My role wasn't large enough to be hacked to pieces.
And then, so when you left the party at Sardi's, how long did you think the show was going to last?
About a week.
And then what
And I got
happened?
a call the next morning. Brent, this is Alan, the stage manager. Could you come in and pick up your belongings? We're closing the show.
Oh.
Can you believe that? Not even past opening night? Did Glory Days only last opening night?
Yeah, remember? They were here at Chatterbox. They found out when they came in for their meeting because someone told them through the glass doors, "Oh, sorry, your show closed." They thought they were coming for a performance.
All right, the ushers were like, didn't you
Opened on
know?
a Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday night, came for work. Like,
Well, at least they had a date. Okay, but at least they had a date. He literally was like, huh? I mean, that's even worse.
No, they had a day off. They had a way of doing it.
No, but I'm saying at least they had a day to cleanse the palate. He had like Sardi's juice still on him and it's a glove. That's devastating. Wait, so what did you think? I never understand that. You plan a whole year to be in a Broadway show and then you're like, I have nothing to do. Like, what did you do that night? You're like, I go see a movie?
I
Like,
know.
how do you plan your life?
It's devastating. Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the next. That's what you do.
The only good news is there were no message boards to see all the mean comments.
Well, that is true.
They were just set behind your back. They weren't
Right.
set in front of you, on your computer screen.
Because we previewed for a month, so I'm sure we would have known before 2 weeks before the show that this wasn't going to.
That shit was over. So then, how did you come crawling back to Broadway? What'd you do next?
Well, the next thing I did, was Grand Hotel.
On Broadway. Smash. But before we get to Grand Hotel, we've got to discuss this off-Broadway triumph where I first heard Brent Barrett, and that's on the CD of Closer Than Ever, one of my favorite double CDs. Okay, so talk about that. Did you think it was going to be a cabaret act? What did you think it was going to be at
Well,
first?
that's what it started out as down at 88's. Just three of us. Stephen Scott Smith put the project together.
It's all
been-
Broadway and Shire music.
Right. He had been Richard's assistant for a while, and so we had the idea of taking, getting out their trunk songs and putting something together similar to Starting You're Starting Now. And so we did a version of it at 88's, and then we went up to the Williamstown Theater Festival and expanded it into 2 acts, and brought another woman on board. And
Who's Sally?
Sally Mays. And then we found a producer, Deborah Roth, which was one of her first shows.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then we moved back into the Cherry Lane.
And so, did you have to audition for it?
No.
Brava, just offered it.
Yeah.
You want an offer only from now on?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Okay, just accent.
Yeah, because we had done the process, and Lynn and I were were in the original. It was called Next Time Now.
It's one of my favorite songs. That's the end of Act 1. I'm obsessed with that song.
And so we were the two that stayed with us through the whole process.
Okay, so do you remember any inappropriate actions, or do I have to retell the story that Lynn Wintersettle told me? Let's go.
No, I think you should tell the story.
Okay,
You tell
so-
much about it.
Well, Mr. I'm from the Midwest. I'm the nice person in the world. Now, Lynn Winterseller was totally so immature backstage. They had this little tiny backstage area. Yeah, keep cackling. And she had this one moment, that song that begins like new, 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 new. All right, that's it. That's the one that does it. So she's behind the curtain, and they're supposed to open up the curtain and be like, all right, that's it. That's the one that does it. So literally during the new, 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 the last beat, this one takes this water bottle and goes, squeeze, squeeze. Water spot here on Lynn,
no.
water spot here, and she's like, all right, that's it, that's the, so she literally has to go out on stage with crazy dripping breastises. It's so mean, because he waits to the last beat, when she's like, you mother, all right, that's it, and the audience is like, why does she have wet nipple? It literally made it's so mean.
And I don't remember doing it.
It was not your
It happens, in a tiny little theater. You start going stir crazy, and it's just, it was probably a matinee or something. And, hey, Lynn, shh.
all right, I'm just obsessed with the beam has just come out with all that sass, and it's like, gang. I'm obsessed with that CD. Any other pranks you remember?
No, but I do remember a real fight one night.
Between who?
I'm not
Cat fight?
Ah!
What the? With only 4 people.
As I said, it was very close quarters back at the the Cherry
Cherry
Lane.
Lane.
And Richard Mewins and I, we just come in at night and we just kind of close our
Exactly. 2 men. We don't express our feelings. And then you heard the hens cackling in the other room. I love it. It's all good. But there is good news about Closer Than Ever. Tell everybody,
Well, it's the 20th anniversary, and they're talking about putting something back together.
Wouldn't that be nice to see it live? I love that CD. It's so great. And they've got
I
to
was
do
too
it.
young to be singing One of the Good Guys then, and now I'm too old to be singing.
What the? And what are you doing up on the
Perfect
roof
timing.
at your age? How'd you get up to that roof in the first place?
I guess. Wow!
What else? You got to do the CD where it has the full orchestration, because the real show itself was just piano and
Just
drum,
piano
right?
bass.
But the CD has it orchestrated. It's so
Yeah,
great.
it is pretty.
Oh, I love that CD.
When we did the CD and then we listened to it, and going back to the show, it's like.
Plunk,
Yeah,
plank. I want it down. Okay, so talk about Grand Hotel. Did you audition for it originally?
I did audition for it originally, and obviously didn't get it. And
Not even offered understudy? The
no,
chutzpah.
nothing. Great. What do you do?
And then how'd you
And
get the gig?
then they were looking to. Well, actually, David's understudy was leaving because David is ill at the time.
Who was David's understudy?
David's understudy.
Do you remember?
Was yes, I do, and of course, if
I'm making remember all these
He went
things
into
20 years
Phantom,
ago.
and he went into, he was
Chris
Mark
Marco?
Jacoby.
Wow, Mark Jacoby.
Mark
Oh,
Jacoby was his understudy.
father in Ragtime.
Yes, Father, and he went into Phantom to do the Phantom, and they were looking for somebody to cover David because they knew whoever was going in was going to be on a lot.
Yeah, because David finally got his big starring part, and then like that's right when his AIDS was really getting bad, and his health was like. But he kept trying to do the show, so he would like do a couple and like have to miss, do a couple and have to miss. So they wanted another understudy that was gonna.
Well, they needed an understudy because Mark was leaving. So I went and auditioned, and they offered me the part.
So then David left.
Well, and then I was on for a month, and in that interim, they signed Rex Smith to come in because ticket sales were lagging, and and also they thought he would do the Tony Awards, and so we got to a week before the Tony Awards, and Tommy came up and said, "Brian, we'd like you to do the Tony Awards." And I said, "I'd love to, Tommy."
So was Rex performing the role at the time?
No. He was
learning it.
He was learning the role, I guess, and to do the Tony Awards, and I guess they decided against that, and
Well, also for poor. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that Tony Award telecast. It's brilliant with Michael Jeter.
yeah.
Michael Jeter and Brent. And to throw Michael Jeter in, I mean, it was really his number to have him do it with someone that he hasn't really been doing it with would have been so jarring, especially someone that's not really from the stage, as we say. Okay, so suddenly you got to like give your big performance at
this
Tony's.
incredible evening of doing the Tony Awards, and then the next night Rex Smith went on. I was back to being the understudy. Hello.
Now, when you were the understudy, were you playing a part? Were you like
No,
So
I was
you were
just covering.
standby?
Yeah.
Oh wow, how weird! So you play. Oh my god, the ups and downs. Now, what was Kukowski like?
Jane was.
Is this thing on?
I love Jane, and she was, she was fantastic
very young.
on the
She was
show.
21.
Yeah, she was just a kid then.
Talk about catfights. Let me hear.
No,
Really?
well, I'm sure they had their time out of town, but once I got into the show, I didn't. Everybody came into the show and they left. Came in for Circle, and then Circle is in Tommy Tune shows. You all get together like 20 minutes before half hour and stand around a circle and hold hands. And how was your day? Just kind of go around the circle if anybody has anything they want to say, just to kind of bring the energy together before you go out and perform.
Is it annoying?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's wonderful in theory, but it's just, oh, please. No, I'm
It's
not
a little
gonna-
Quaker/culty.
Yeah, it's a little.
But the Quaker
it is
part
a
I
little
like.
culty. It's really sweet. As I said, it's a really great idea, but it's like.
Can I just talk to my friends when I want to talk to them and not be forced to talk in a circle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Tommy actually in the circle?
If he was there, yeah, he definitely would be in the circle, and he'd be counting to see who wasn't.
Oh shit. Okay, so talk about playing opposite Jane. Now, what was that like?
Uh-huh.
I thought she was
She was
so great in
sweet.
that show.
Yeah, she was good. She was very.
Like, what actor have you played with on stage that you've like actually been like, I learned blah 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 from that person. I learned how to blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you work with good people, it always raises your game. Like doing Anna Get Your Gun with Reba in situations.
Did you see that?
It's something that I learned when Melanie Griffith came into Chicago. It was really fascinating watching her work. It was all like right here and very simple and nothing. And, but it was very.
For the camera, you're saying?
Oh yeah, but I mean, she was so incredibly vulnerable, and
She's a great actress.
yeah. Well, I mean, she was very good in this, and it was like that was a lesson learned.
In terms of what? How to be small?
Mm-hmm. Just
No, in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be like, I'm sad. You can just like be sad. I'm actually trying to be nice for the first time in my career. No, but you're saying that you learn that you don't have to do a lot. You can just like.
yeah. And
What was your reaction around the theater when they were like, when the review came out? That was like, Melanie Griffith is the best Roxy ever.
Oh, God.
Not from you.
No.
Because you never up for that part. So you.
No, I mean, when that review came out, I think we were all like,
Really?
okay.
I guess he got that great acting aspect of it. And what was she like to the cast?
She was great.
She was?
She's crazy.
Like in a
She's
fun,
so
crazy
funny.
way?
Well, in a fun, crazy way. You know, you can't smoke backstage, but of course, she would turn her, Melanie would turn the air conditioning up high and like, you know, like she was smoking out the window, but it's, you know, it walked it all through.
Oh, God.
Like, oh, honey, you're not, you know. And the incense she would burn to try and cover it.
Oh God! Oh God! So was Antonio backstage?
No, he was always over at his theater.
And his
She would always finish the show and go over next door.
And would you ever give you any notes like, can you make sure you...
No,
No.
no,
She never started up with you.
no.
How many Roxys have you had? Did you ever do with Cheetah?
No.
Oh, she did
I
in
would,
Vegas.
yeah, she did in Vegas. Yeah, I would love to have done it with Cheetah.
Did you with Ruthie Henschel?
I did. She was Velma. I didn't do it with.
How great was she?
Roxy. I love Ruthie. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Mhm.
Who's been your favorite Velma? Besides the current one.
My favorite Velma. I don't really do a lot with Velma.
Oh, that's true. You're right. You
It's
just
only-
like you just blow her off.
It's like, you know, I say, okay, who's Roxy? Who's Amos? And that. Other than that,
So who's been your favorite Rox?
I can't say.
Oh, come on!
Oh, come on.
Well, tell me what's been the
Let
best.
me tell you. I'll tell you one of my favorite Roxys.
Okay, go.
Well, I've had a lot of favorite Roxys.
Well, when they have 2-week contract
say-
constantly in that show, I mean, the
No.
Rox come in like February 4th, February 9th.
I love Sandy Duncan.
She's amazing! I heard her Roxy was unbelievable.
Sandy was like the right age. She could dance it. She could sing it. And she was, you know, she was a little pixie, and she was, she was, she had teeth. It was great. It was fun, and I had a great time doing it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go back to that show.
No.
That's what she told me. She didn't like the way the actors were treated. That's what she said. She loves actors, and she didn't feel the actors were treated well on that show. I wouldn't know because I've never been involved with that show. I had a call back from Mama Morton, but all right, continue. Grand Hotel. So that's the late '80s. Oh shit! You did
Yeah.
Busker. I mean, Stage for Charlie, as it was called.
Buskers.
Or One Tall Woman. That year, you know, the Alvin play Three Tall Women had been.
That's
Is this going out anywhere?
No, it's just being videotaped for online. That's gonna national.
great.
You didn't make up
It's
that.
never gonna work in this business again.
He's not directing anymore. Okay, so continue. So wait, so when you got cast in that show, it was the national tour that was coming to Broadway.
Yes, it was 6 weeks. They had offered me the Beast in the Los Angeles opening of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, that's a good deal.
And I'd been on tour so much, I just wanted to come home. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that, and that will, then I can, you know.
What, that meaning
I'm
Do the
going to
Beast?
do, no, I'm going to do Busker Alley, and we'll be on the road for 6 months, and we're coming back to New York.
For a long New York run.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you first start looking at each other going, what the hell? The first read-through? That's early, dear.
It just slowly self-destructed as we were on the road. Just, you know, the changes that were made, we're just going, what's going on here?
And what was your character?
My character was, his character's name was Victor Duquesne. He was the big star of the West End.
Oh, and you were being
Yes, I had-
being usurped by like Darcy or something?
Well, I was kind of bringing her in and showing her the ropes.
You were sort of Billy Lawler. 42nd Street.
An older Billy Lawler, yeah.
Little Julian Marsh. Now, were you
Yes.
there the night, you know, there was like an offstage puppet that was like, hi! That Dennis Jones had to go on for the puppet? Because Dennis was the understanding Dennis is like B. Arthur, so he was like, hi! Did you ever see that one? Like, Dennis said Tommy Tune like literally couldn't continue because it sounded so crazy. Dennis's high puppet voice is just talking like this. Yeah, it's just crazy Monster Lane stretch. Oh my god.
Funny.
Okay, so then
Of
what?
course, yeah, I didn't miss any shows, so I must have been there.
But you just...
I was in my dressing room crying.
Monitor turned off. So what was? So first of all, what happened? No, Tommy didn't direct it, right? Jeff directed it.
Well, Jeff was the director, and then about, I guess, 4 months into the run, Tommy took over as the director.
And what was it like being directed by someone who's also in the show with you?
I think it's very difficult for everyone involved.
It's weird because he's on stage, but he's directing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what happened when Tommy?
Well, here we are in Tampa. It's the week before we're coming into New York. Leroy Neiman,
Week
the
before.
whole front of the theater, the St. James, had been painted with what was the name of it? I guess it was still
It was
Busker
Busker
Alley
Alley.
at that.
Back to
Yeah.
Busker Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to Backdoor Charlie.
Stage show, Charlie dear.
Oh, stage show. And then,
It's all good. But it's great.
so then we, so it was, about 8 of us we were in Tampa, we had found this little motel that was right on the beach.
Oh, that's nice.
And we'd drive across the causeway and drive to the theater. And I had gotten home that night, and Paige Price came over, knocked on the door, she said, "Brent." And I opened the door, and she goes, "Tommy broke his foot." And I went, "What?" You're kidding. You're kidding. You know, he broke his foot. What do you mean he broke his foot? I mean, when? I guess because there were all these these poles in the stage, kind of like Grand Hotel had the 4 pillars. Well, these had all of these like street lamps.
Right, they would all hang on to them and dance around.
Dance and swirl and. So at that point, then it was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And his understudy at the time didn't know the role. So Jeff ended up dancing the role. Jeff Calhoun ended up coming on dancing the role. And his understudy ended up kind of doing the scene work. Or Tommy did the scene work. And Jeff did all the dancing.
And who sang? Linda Eder?
No, Tommy was singing.
Okay, so Tommy just did the movement.
Didn't do the dancing at all. And at that point, of course, I think they were so desperate, they're going, maybe we can make it work like this.
Oh my
We'll
God.
have 3 different Tommies on stage at the same time. So that happened, and then there was talk about,
Postponing?
no, actually they were talking to Gregory Hines about coming in and opening the show on Broadway. And we were all going,
Yeah, fabulous.
but that didn't work out for whatever reason. And
Were you not doing the show anymore at this point?
No.
It was only 1 week.
it was 1 week and then we were done. But they kept saying, okay, yeah, well, we're seeing how we can work it out.
So you were just hanging out in New York waiting by your phone?
Yeah.
And then when were they finally like, darling?
And I could have been in a Beast costume in LA.
But
But
transformation. So when did you find out that it was being ixnayed?
Shortly after, well, it was postponed. First it's postponed, and then they paint the theater over for the producers and whatever, and yeah, you go, okay, I guess it's it.
Now you know who almost had
Grease.
No, Grease was running at the time because I was doing. You know who almost got the lead in Busker Alley and was devastated that she didn't get it was Megan Mullally. Because she was doing Grease at the time, she did all the demo tapes, and then she had like, I had my final callback and didn't get it. She was so pissed off, and then of course she was like, ha ha, and the whole thing like went down. And she had How to Succeed, but it would have been an interesting show to have Megan.
It would have been a much different show
Yeah,
with Megan.
that bizarre. Okay, so that was.
You know, it's our business. It's like, okay,
It's the ups and the
good
downs.
times and bum times, baby. That's exactly what it
Dance
is.
a little closer. Every story is like it's God. What's that story? Everyone has sort of like a weird tragic element. Like, now talk about speaking of horrible tragedies. You know, Grand Hotel. The CD was postponed for years because it was arguing between Maury Yeston and Forrest and Wright over who really wrote what part of the show and,
And
the
what they were going to
compensation.
put on the album.
Right,
and-
but the original stuff or not. And then finally, like the show had actually closed, right?
No, it was still running on Broadway, but it was 2 years after it opened.
2 years after it opened, they finally we're gonna make the CD, and of course David Carroll was so sick, but he was still gonna be on it, and literally he showed up in the recording studio and died. Literally in the recording studio. That's how sick he was, and so unbelievably tragic because it was amazing to have a record of his performance in that. That was like his role.
And on the album, they do have,
Yeah.
they do have a track of
A special track of Lucky and Happy. Yeah, his performance.
Yeah.
So tell me, first of all, were you mortified having to hit that fucking last note? And I know.
Yeah.
How scary were you the
not
first time you did
mortified,
it?
It's just like, okay, let's take a deep breath and go.
But it's hard when you're not doing it 8 times a week because you have all this time off and then suddenly you're back hitting it again.
Right. Well, I just come from hitting that high note in Closer Than Ever.
Oh.
So,
With
no,
love.
I was on tour with it when I did the album. I took a week off to come into New York to record the album.
Okay, so that's so you.
I was
know that.
doing it 8 times a week, and we changed it from an A to an A flat. So.
And that's a big difference in your passaggio, as we say in the business. So then it suddenly got easy.
It was much easier.
Speaking of lowering keys, what was Linnea Montevecchi like?
I love the lyrics.
Fire and ice.
Yes.
How old was she? Was she in her 50s in
What is
that?
she now? It's how long ago? 20 years ago. Yeah, she was probably 55 or something.
God, and she was doing all that ballet. She looked amazing.
I know. She still does. She came out to Vegas on 4th of July a couple of years ago. Yeah, and she stayed with us. And she came down one morning in her little bathing suit, and her body is just like. She only eats one meal a day.
And what is it? Cigarettes?
I don't think she ever smoked. I don't know. Yeah.
That's Oh, speaking of doing Grand Hotel for 2 years, tell them about the talk show.
The talk show.
Right,
You know,
it's
we've
good
been traveling
friends.
we've been traveling for 2 years, and she's on a talk show, and she's just talking about the show. Oh, and I love my leading man, Brent Barrett.
2 years of knowing him. Real?
You love her, you know. You go, whatever.
She lost it in translation. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the 90s. So wait, so Grand Hotel. You never did Beauty and the Beast, I guess, after all that.
No, never did.
And it ran for so many effing years. They never re-offered you the role. They were hurt that you turned them
I
down.
guess I was just busy.
All right, well, not after Busker Alley. You were free, as far as I know.
After Busker Alley, then I did my first cabaret act in New York, up at the Triad.
By the way, I just got a posting on my Facebook that your show at Birdland was fantastic.
Did you?
Yes, I posted. Oh, thanks. You still got. By the way, he has a new Christmas CD, as you know. Not this, but his hair looks like this. That he brought, and you can also buy it after this, and of course, he'll be autographing it. So get out your cashola. Where was I? Okay, so hold on. So this is the 90s.
The 90s. Well, the 90s ushered in with Grand Hotel. I was on the road with that for 2 years, and I came back, and then I went out on the road with Kathy Rigby doing Annie Get Your Gun.
With Kathy Rigby. Oh, I didn't know that. So
Yeah,
before you
there
did it
was a
on
tour out.
Broadway?
There was a tour out that they were planning on bringing into Broadway, which never happened, and
I like her. I thought she was nice. She's
she's
physical.
very sweet.
Did you learn anything from her, like how to do a split?
Talk about cutting up on stage. She likes to play around.
So what would she do?
No, she'd come out like during they say it's wonderful. What's the song in the second act? I think that's is it
Falling in Love is Wonderful?
Falling in Love is Wonderful. Yeah, you know, she'd come out with things in her hand. So when I took her hand, you know, there'd be something in her hand. You know, just silly little things.
And what would it actually be?
What is it? Oh, a little
Rock?
bit of toy or something. You know, just something to.
To make you laugh?
Yeah, yeah.
She did it for how long?
What?
The Annie Get Your Gun tour.
We were on the road for a year.
Holy shit! And then you did it on Broadway?
Yeah, but then I had time off, and then this production happened.
So when did you? Who was your first Annie in Annie Get Your Gun?
I only did it with Reba.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we went in. We were there together.
How did you both get at the same? Like, how come you were teamed with Reba?
Well, Reba was coming in, and Fran and Barry wanted me to come in and audition. Basically, it was a video audition, and they were sending the videos to kind of, I guess, the manager at the time.
So he
And
chose?
So she chose.
Really? Well, you guys were amazing together. I thought you were fantastic in that show, and she was also unbelievable. But when you were first cast, were you like, oh, God, I'm doing the country star, I'm gonna have to hold your hand, she's gonna
Well,
suck?
the thing is, you know, growing up in Kansas, but I never listened to country music.
Really?
No. Like,
Yeah.
So you didn't even know
because
really.
of the shit kickers that it was associated
Oh,
with
yeah,
where I
yeah.
came from, right?
Okay,
You know,
so
the
kind of
pickup
that.
trucks and everything. So you know, I didn't listen to country music. So I knew she was a big star, but boy, I had no idea how big a star she was until hundreds of people were at the stage door every night.
But then you also had no idea what a great actress she was.
No,
She was so
exactly.
fantastic in that show.
What had she done? Drummers?
Yeah.
Right!
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, it's a crazy reference. So that show wound up being, that's where they brought the whole Tony Award. They tried to do the whole
Yeah.
replacement Tony Award, because they felt bad she didn't get one, and then they took it away the next year.
Yeah.
It was
Just bother to go see a
Yeah.
show again.
idiots. Okay, so Annie Get Your Gun, delicious, and then what the hell was after that?
I went to London.
London for
I went
what?
to London and Kiss Me Kate.
Oh, with
And the video.
Rachel York?
Rachel, I did it with all three. I did it with Marin to begin with. We opened it with Marin, and then
She's
Carol
hilarious.
Lee came in for a month, and then Rachel came in.
Oh my God, you had the best leading ladies in the
I had them
business.
all. Yeah.
So what's the difference between them?
Kind of the tone, you know. Some of the, you know, they're all very different, and all fantastic in their own ways, and they all sing like angels.
Well, Rachel York is almost like a Lucille Ball type comedian.
Yeah.
I feel like physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Carol Lee, I feel, is more of like, I'm an actress, but like an amazing
Mhm.
actress. And
Right.
then Marin's just hilarious
Right.
and very sexual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did she tell you any crazy stuff? Yeah, a lot of that. You know, there's a famous story she told me that she was doing Passion. Is that the show where she began like nude?
Yes.
Yes.
And Jerry Shea forgot to tell her that his back was out. So she,
Oh, yes.
she was in the back of the curtain and she got on him and he literally covered his whole back with Bengay. So she sat, no underwear, and had to do the first song. She ran around backstage singing "Pussy on Fire." So she told me, if it burns your back, can you imagine? Curtain goes up, and she's like, holy crap, she's hilarious. She's got a great sense of humor.
Nobody sings "Ring Them Bells" like Mary.
I know she's got the bells to ring. I know. That shit is crazy. The bells are in there. And then anyway, so then you got to film it for.
Then we filmed it for PBS.
And how did they just kind of film? Like 3 cameras?
They did, yeah, no, it's actually 5 cameras.
Holy shit.
And they filmed it over 5 different nights. And
That's so relaxing. You don't have to go, this has to be the perfect performance.
right, but then but yeah, it's kind of like
Right, they all have
to be perfect because you know they're gonna take the one that you look like shit in.
Oh god, that's no.
Or the lighting, because with the 5 different cameras, and if they're not all, if the color grading or the lighting isn't exactly right, then it doesn't match up from frame to frame, and when they change from one camera to the next, so. Yeah, you've got to be good every night because you never know what take they're going to have to
And what
use.
kind of makeup are you wearing? Stage makeup or like
No, they brought
makeup?
people in to do more camera makeup.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so then after Kiss Me Kate, then Phantom? Did you ever
They
think
came
you'd be
back here
playing?
and went back into Chicago.
God, so that's the show that keeps on giving.
It's my day job and I'm very happy to have it.
So then how did you get Phantom? Did you ever audition for that show?
I'd only auditioned for it once.
Raoul?
Oh no, okay, well we have to go back then to the Close and Ever time because, well, when at first they wanted me to do Raoul when it opened in Toronto.
Oh, really? With Cole Wilkinson?
Yeah, they offered
And what
me
happened? You
that.
got Bus Riley instead?
And you know what I did? I stayed in New York and did Closer Than Ever.
Oh, then it paid off for me. No, wait, if I recall correctly, when I first interviewed you years ago, didn't you have some story about trying out for the film version of Best Little House in Texas? Am I crazy?
Oh, no, that's right.
What was
When
the
they were
story?
doing that, well, they had an open call at, I think the theater was on 44th Street or something. It was just like hundreds of men in the street, and just they paraded you across stage and said, "Okay, take your shirt off." Okay, okay, thank you. And I mean, that was the typing, and then they wanted to see whether you could dance.
So you got past taking the shirt off part?
No, are you kidding?
Oh shit, really?
No.
So you took your shirt off?
Horrifying.
So they said take your shirt
Of
off?
course, then I did the soap opera, and the first week I was in a bikini bathing suit. It was like, well, okay. Yeah.
What year were you on? Was All My Children? Is that what you were on?
Let's see, I fell off the roof in '84. Yeah. Actually, that was right after Denzel.
You were in a Speedo?
Yeah.
How do they position that stuff? I mean, like, what are you wearing?
What stuff are you referring to?
Well, the opposite of Marin Mason. I was just saying, like, if you're on camera, don't you have to be, like, perfectly positioned so, like, nothing happens?
I guess, well,
Like, you'll get back to me, red-faced, Kansas. Describe the song.
Describe this song. This is the song that we were talking about earlier. It's called Anyone Who Loves. It was sung by Liz Robertson in the show in support of the 2 gay airline stewards who wanted to get married. And I think its message is incredibly relevant at the end of this particular year with everything that's been going on.
And Bravo Washington.
Hey! All I care about This is a warm-up thing.
Anyone who loves people anywhere, anyone who loves, they deserve a prayer. We're only living by the hour, while the sages with the power play their games of peace and war, with no shred of pity for anyone who lives, anyone who loves. Seasons come and go, but without a spring. Where's the ray of hope surrounded by the night, while God plays idiots delight. Why can't there be a ray of sun that shines on anyone who loves? There ought to be a ray of sun to shine on anyone who loves. We're here surrounded by the night, while God plays idiots delight. Why can't there be a ray of sun that shines on anyone who loves? There ought to be a ray of sun that shines on anyone who loves.
So guys, just sit back on the way out, get us Christmas album. It's a good stocking stuffer. Are we taking a photo for the website? Where's your little CD? I'll hold it up.
I don't know. It's up. They're up front.
Hold on. Someone pass it back.
Here.
I'm going to see. Okay, we're taking for the label column. Yeah, next week is the holidays, so Siri won't be here, but I'll be here after. Hold on. Don't trip on your way here. Tommy Tombstone.
Yeah.
It's dark. Here we go. Take a little photo. Okay. I like Peggy next to the airbrushing. How's that? Okay? Airbrush that shit. Alright, bravo, Brent Barrett! Seth, we get